Here are 10 Amazon PPC tips that are going to transform your account. If you need to reduce ACOS, increase sales, or you're just a little lost in what you're doing, these tips are going to help you a lot. And at the end of the video, I've included an extra tip, which is going to grow your account quite a lot. I'm Dylan Heathcote from AMZ Joy. Let's jump into this video. Okay, starting off, tip number 1, campaign structure. This is one of the most important tips that you're going to come across. So this is basically how all campaigns are going to be built out. And I've created a visual below. You can see the guidelines here. So starting off, we're going to have 1 ASIN or SKU per campaign, a maximum of 5 keywords or product targets per campaign. Different match types are separated by campaign. So you're not going to mix exact and phrase match together. You're not going to mix phrase and broad match together. Exact is going to stay with exact, phrase is going to start with phrase. They're going to have their own campaigns. And then ranking campaigns, we'll dig into this a little later, will have it will be a single keyword campaign with an exact match keyword with a little bit of a placement modifier if you wish. So in the visual below, just gives you a little more of an idea of how general campaigns are built and the ranking campaigns. So campaign 1, exact match, we have 1 ad group, 1 product ad, which is the ASIN, and then 5 exact match keywords. Let's say you have a list of 10 keywords. You'll create this campaign first with 5, and then create another campaign with 5 keywords. So 2 campaigns for 10 keywords, 5 keywords per campaign. Pretty simple. And then the rest of the example, you can kind of just see that each match type is separated: broad, phrase, exact ASIN, expanded ASIN. You get the point. And then below, ranking campaigns. Pretty much the same structure, 1 ASIN per campaign, but it's just 1 keyword as exact match with a placement modifier of top of search for 50%. We'll dig into this a little bit deeper. But already, campaign structure is so important, and it will make all these other PPC tips make sense to you. Tip number 2, broad modified. What is broad modified? What it's basically telling Amazon is any word with a plus symbol before it. This means that word has to show up in the query that Amazon is advertising your product for. So if a customer types in Western wall decor, it will show up. But what it can do in comparison to phrase is it can mix and match these keywords in any order. Phrase match, Western wall decor, has to stay in that order. With broad modified, it can switch them around and add other keywords into it. So this really controls your spend overall, and it makes all the search terms that you show up for way more relevant. And honestly, doing this, you can pretty much remove any of your phrase match campaigns because this just controls it so much better. And then by adding these plus symbols as well, instead of normal broad match, it's not going as crazy and you're just not showing up for completely random terms. I'll just show you a few more examples so you get an idea of what it would look like for other keywords, just for reference. So dog leash plus dog plus leash, blue water bottle plus blue plus water plus bottle. Okay, so you get the point. So that's tip number 2, broad modified. Tip number 3, product targeting. This is what I see people get wrong so many times, to be honest with you. So when they create product targeting campaigns, a lot of times what I see is they'll type their keyword into Amazon. So for this example, dog leash, and then they'll select the top revenue products and target those. Honestly, you're going to get destroyed and you're going to waste a lot of money trying to go after those products. So what should you go after? Basically, try to go over products that are higher priced than you. So basically, you're a better deal for the customer if you got a similar product and you're lower priced. 2, you have a competitive advantage. Maybe your dog leash comes with a water bowl or a dog ball, whilst theirs only comes with a leash. Actually, you can see in the first example here, this one comes with kind of like that poop bag, right? So it's an extra, it's a competitive advantage with a similar price. So you can target products that don't have those extras. And then thirdly, target products that have lower reviews, ideally those with lower than 4 stars. Anything lower than 4 stars, their conversion rates come way down and customers are looking for those with more than 4 stars. Now, you can quickly do this by using Helium 10 and their extension. Open up the extension, select X-ray, and then right off the bat in filters, you can enter in a lot of the filters that you need. So prices higher than yours, reviews lower. The only one that will be a little bit of manual work is finding those that you have a competitive advantage over. So that is product targeting. Tip number 4 is making use of negative phrase. So how do we do this properly? So over time, you're going to find that a lot of your products start turning up for search terms that just aren't relevant to your product. So for this example here, this client sells prints and they were showing up for shower curtains, diamond art, and just words that weren't relevant, like antique. So what you're going to do is create a master list of these phrases that are just not relevant to your product. For example, here, you can do this better in like an Excel sheet or Google Sheets, where you just keep listing each word. Make sure these words are not relevant to your product in any way, because these will no longer be a part of any search terms that your product show up for in these campaigns. So what we do with this list is every time we create a new campaign, we're going to add it as a negative phrase to the campaign level. Let me show you real quickly. So I'm going to copy this list here. I've opened up a campaign and then I've selected on the left-hand side negative keywords. Click the blue button, add negative keywords, select negative phrase, add that list in. Each line is a new keyword, add keywords, and then you'll click save. You won't see that error on that side. It's because I already had these added. Now, what this is going to do is going to make sure any search terms that this campaign is showing your product for will not contain these words. So please make sure they are not relevant to your product. But if you get this right, the amount you save on spend is insane. Tip number 5, variations. If you're selling variations and you're not sure how to set up your campaign structure, this will help a lot. If not, skip to the next tip. Okay, so how do we properly create campaigns for variations? So what you're going to generally have is a top seller in the variation. You'll very clearly know because it'll be outselling the rest of them. So with the top selling product, this is the product that you're going to create a campaign for that targets those more competitive, less relevant keywords. So for example, I did dog leashes. The best seller is a black leash. And this is the one that is going to target keywords such as dog leash, pet leash, walking lead, dog lead. Okay, so it doesn't have like the word black and things like that. These are the super competitive keywords that you only want to be focusing on your top seller. Then for the other variations or the other ASINs within the variation, you're going to create search intent campaigns. So each ASIN will have their own campaign, and they'll have more specific keywords. So for example, we'll create a campaign for black leash, and it's targeting keywords such as black dog leash, black pet lead, black walking leash. You get the point. We're still following the guidelines from the first tip. Then what you can also do is if you have even more variations, let's say you have a red leash in multiple sizes, you can create groupings for the red color. So put all the red leashes in one campaign, like you can see here on the campaign 5, and then we're going to target specific keywords for red leash, so such as red dog leash, red pet lead, etc., etc. This will give you a much better strategy on how to create campaigns for variations. Tip number 6, for every ASIN or majority of your ASINs, create a low bid auto campaign. You're going to have all the match types in it: close match, loose match, substitutes, complements. And what you're going to do is you're going to make the bid between 5 and 20 cents. This will change depending on your category, but start it at 5 cents and then work it up until you start getting impressions. What is the point of these campaigns? 1, long term, you can harvest them for converting keywords. But 2, they work really well for one-off keywords that you wouldn't harvest and target. They're usually like one-off, very long tail random keywords that a customer has clicked in. And this just helps you show up for that and take advantage of those cheap sales. So this is a pretty easy one to do and implement. So get going on this. Tip number 7, create campaigns by intent or strategy. What do I mean by this? Every campaign should have a goal. So I've created this visual here so you can get an idea of goals that I've seen or created. So for example, if a campaign has the strategy of ranking, so improving organic ranking, make sure it has that intent behind it. So usually these are going to cost you a lot more. You're going to be targeting a higher ACOS so you can gain those ranks and get more sales. Other examples are profit. So keywords that have just worked long-term over time and they're targeting an ACOS below your break-even ACOS. They just run really well. Another one would be like the discovery campaigns that we just discussed. So your low bid autos, those campaigns that are kind of picking up on keywords we may have missed. Over time, we might lower the ACOS goals on these just to kind of work in the background as we've found majority of the keywords, but it could still find keywords during seasonal times like Christmas and things like that. Another example could be competitive takeover. So product targeting, the product targets that we're trying to take over and take sales from. So every campaign should have an intent behind it. This makes structure and just overall bid optimization so much easier to do. Tip number 8, budgets. Head over to your advertising console, and this tab is already readily available. On the left-hand side, you'll see campaigns, portfolios, etc. Select budgets, which was what I'm already on. We're gonna set the date range to 30 days. Filter by, add active status enabled. And then for the next one, do average time and budget less than 100%. So for this account, all budgets are running smoothly, but if you're finding that campaigns are running out of budget, this will instantly show you which ones. So if they're less than 100%, it means they're not running the entire time during that 30 days that we set. So you might want to increase the budgets for these campaigns to take advantage of the sales that are coming through. Now you can add some other criteria such as ACOS and things like that, because if it's a campaign that's like 500% ACOS, you obviously don't want to increase the budget for that. But anything that's running well, make sure you have sufficient budget for the entire 30 days. This is a huge tip and will help a lot. Tip number 9, placements. We can take advantage of placements for certain campaigns. What I recommend in my experience is usually you're going to play with placements on ranking campaigns such as top of search. So I'll just run through how to set these up real quickly. So what I've done is I've selected the campaign, and once again, you'll see the menu on the left-hand side. Select campaign settings. This is the page that we're on here. And you're going to scroll down until you see adjust bids by placement. And what we can do for ranking campaigns, and ranking campaigns are the ones where you're trying to push and gain organic ranking for that keyword. For top of search, you can add a modifier. So add 50 to 100%. And what this is saying is, hey, Amazon, you can increase my bid in order for it to show up in top of search, which is the first page, which is very important for ranking. So make sure for those ranking campaigns that you're setting a placement modifier for top of search. You can get a little more detailed with this and start messing around with rest of search and product pages on other accounts, but you don't need to get that technical. Try to keep it controlled and for those ranking campaigns so you have better control. Tip number 10, if you've just launched a product and your spend is going through the roof, your TARCOS is really high, your ACOS is really high, this might be one of the issues right here. Short tail versus long tail keywords. So basically what this means is you got the super competitive keywords, for this example, dog leash, versus longer tail keywords, which usually have more buyer intent and are more specific, like red, long, dog leash, okay? So if you're spending a lot of money on keywords that are highly competitive, like dog leash, leash, pet leash, if you've just launched a product, you're probably going to get destroyed and waste a lot of spend, and it's not a very good strategy right off the bat, unless you have the budget for it and you're not too worried. What I do recommend for people that are going through this is find long tail keywords using the tool like Helium 10 that still have somewhat of a search volume, like 100 per month or above, and start targeting these keywords. So for this example, you can see red retractable dog leash for large dogs. Super relevant, super specific. If someone's typing that in, they're obviously going to buy what they're looking for. And the competition on words like this are so much lower, which means the bid is so much lower, like the cost to appear at the top of the page and things like that. So if you're experiencing this, please reduce the amount of budget and spend on short tail and focus more on long tail until you build like more reviews and things like that. And here's the bonus tip of the video. How do you harvest your search term reports? This is going to be very straightforward, but what you're going to do is head over to your advertising console again. In the left-hand side in the big menu, select under measurement and reporting, select sponsored ad reports, which I'm currently in. Create a report, sponsored products, yep. Search term, yep. And just choose the longest date range you can select. So for example, December 22 all the way to December 23. Request this report. Once it's downloaded, we can open it up. I already have it ready. Okay. So this is probably a huge tip that's going to help a lot. And I don't see too many people recommending this. Once you have the file open in Excel or Google Sheets, Control All and apply a filter. And what you're going to do is scroll over until you see the column 7-day advertised SKU units. Now 7-day, don't worry about it saying 7-day. It's still going to show you all units that have sold in the time range that we selected. But the difference here is advertised SKU means the ASIN has actually converted for the ASIN that we're advertising. What a lot of people don't know is that when you see the normal 7-day total orders, total units, sometimes this can be just attribution from when someone has clicked an ad and then selected and purchased another one of your products. So it still shows up that that ASIN sold for that keyword, which actually isn't correct. So use this column here. And then what I want you to do is for the filter, do greater than or equal to 2. Do not do 1, do 2. Why? A lot of the times when you do just 1 and above, anything with one order is usually super random or one-off sales, and it's just not a lot of confidence. So if you do 2 or more, it's just going to give you a much better breakdown of the keywords that are converting that are actually super relevant. So that in itself is going to help you a lot. And then obviously the next thing you need to do is head over to customer search term. So this is actually what your ASIN converted on, and just make sure, double check that it's relevant to your product. Once you've done this, take these words and basically harvest them and create new campaigns. But that filter alone is you'll see the results in no time. Well, I hope you liked this video. This is my top 10 Amazon PPC tips. I'm Dylan Heathcote from AMZ Joy. Thank you for watching.